Hey there, I'm Shawna, your counseling astrologer. I wanted to share with you one of the ways that I conceptualize astrology, especially working with challenging situations or challenging people or challenging astrology patterns in your birth chart. So the way that I look at this is that we all have all of the planets and all of the signs and all of the houses in our birth chart. And that energy is symbolic and it wants to be expressed. It wants to be expressed and manifested in a variety of different ways in your life and in the world. And so sometimes what can happen is we feel very comfortable with certain kinds of symbols and energy and themes. And we feel uncomfortable sometimes with other, especially more challenging aspects. And so that which we feel uncomfortable with, or that which we have been conditioned to understand as bad or negative or not acceptable or just not in alignment with ourselves, that conditioning through our culture or through our family upbringing, those qualities and that symbolism gets projected onto other people or other things or other, it becomes the other essentially. And so this usually happens with the challenging symbolism in astrology. So like Mars, Saturn, even Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto to a certain extent as well. But it can also happen with the more positive or helpful planetary symbols as well. So for example, someone that maybe doesn't feel like they are like really smart, they will project that onto other people. If they were conditioned and told that, you know, they're a particular kind of way, then they may actually be a very smart person, but then they would project that onto other people and see other people that way. And I think that this dynamic is very natural and it's impossible for us to not do it. So I just want to normalize that it's this projection isn't a bad thing. It's sort of how we figure out how to be in the world, and through we can the challenge with this projection dynamic is that it can be sort of disempowering, because you're in a situation where someone else is embodying the symbolism and the energy that is a part of you. And so it can especially when we're talking about Mars or Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, it can be really empowering to figure out how to reclaim that energy for yourself in a way that feels like it is you and it is unique to you, and it's cultivating the sense of authenticity. And so what this can look like, how to explore this, is by noticing what challenging people, situations, or scenarios like are really intense for you, like really hard or really difficult, or that just like really irk you a lot. And this is going to be different for everyone, but the things that like just really that really challenge you, and it can be a person in your life, can sometimes even be a person that you really love, but just a person that's very challenging for you, or a situation or kind of scenario and dynamic. And to get really curious, to kind of like allow your awareness to pull back and to notice what it is about that person or that situation that really irks you. Like, what specifically is it? If you had to name it or describe it. And then to get really curious about how that symbolically relates to you and your life. And sometimes it's where you're like, oh, like I actually do a version of that. Sometimes that can happen. Sometimes it's more of like that person or situation that irks you is kind of like a counterbalance. Maybe like someone, for example, maybe a person that really irks you is really aggressive and anything from like a go-getter to like really just like intense and tends towards anger. A person may be really challenged by that if they, let's say, like never get angry or feel really afraid of anger or any kind of self-assertion. So that's just one example. It can be very nuanced in the way that this works. And I think the biggest thing is contemplating and identifying these symbolic patterns of what creates an emotional spike for you, because those are areas where there's something there for you to learn from and to even like to integrate. There's some, the thing is, there is some part of you there. And if it is causing you pain or suffering or distress, even more so the reason to get really curious about it and to see where there may be something there that could be integrated, and again in a way where it is authentic to you and where you're claiming a part of yourself and moving towards that authentic self-expression. It can really help when you're doing this to look at your birth chart as well, because our birth chart usually reflects the things that that we are emphasized in, and the things that maybe are not emphasized as much, or the things that are a little more challenging for us to look at. Along these lines, I'm going to make a video shortly about the symbolism of Mars and how to embody that, because we have some Mars energy that's happening this week, and I want to share that with you. I feel it's very important. All right, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you later. Bye.